These people are so out of control that it's asinine to me. You got another copycat shooter that apparently used the 30-06 rifle to commit a terrorist attack against the ICE facility. And again, at this moment, I don't really know what his motive really was, because if his motive was to attack ICE, the dummy only shot detainees. This dude shot and killed detainees. He didn't even shoot an ICE agent. So it makes me wonder, is this a copycat situation? Is this a diversion situation that the person was really intentionally trying to kill detainees and then frame it as if this was a ICE incident? I have no idea. Before we get to the news clip, post a picture of the guy so we can see what he looked like. Now, everybody like to post pictures of people when they kids and stuff, so I don't know if this is an accurate perspective of what he looked like now, but you can look at him and tell he don't look like a conservative. He doesn't look like a conservative. And these bullets look like 30-06, and I did some research, and it does look like he used the 30-06 rifle. Writing on the casing seems to be copycat-ish. Now, he was a coward and didn't go out like a man, and he took his own life, just like a beta. I want to say the other B word, but I'm a good Christian. But the dummy didn't even hurt anybody in the ICE facility. Now, we're going to go through, I'm going to play the news clip so you can see the updates, but we're going to go through and have a conversation of why I know for a fact, in part, that these things are happening in the attack against ICE agents, and it has nothing to do with conservatives. Hey, y'all, hold on real quick. I got to tell you this. I bet you $1 million y'all didn't know this. Only 3 mobile providers on all of the cell phone towers in America. When you work with Patriot Mobile, you can pick one of the providers that work best for you, and that's the uniqueness of Patriot Mobile. Switch to the only Christian conservative provider today. All you got to do is go to patriotmobile.com/Tatum or call 972-PATRIOT and get a free month of service with promo code Tatum. Roll the clip.
Guys?
Griff, we just heard from Todd Lyons. He said, hi, we had shots fired into the Dallas ICE office, into the ICE office, specifically into the Sallyport, as you were saying, Griff, area where detainees are brought in. 3 people have been shot and en route to the hospital. Reports are the shooter is down from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Reports are all ICE employees are accounted for, still searching and securing the scene.
Yeah, and Ainsley, Secretary Kristi Noem, DHS Secretary, is now responding on social media as well, saying that there was a shooting this morning at the Dallas ICE detention facility. Details are still emerging, but we can confirm there were multiple injuries and fatalities. That's new and troubling. The shooter is deceased by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. She says, while we don't know the motive yet, we know that our ICE law enforcement is facing unprecedented violence against them. It must stop. She adds, please pray for the victims and their families.
And Griff, you know the threat level is very high right now for ICE. There was a bust done also in Texas of a group of individuals of the
All right, let's go to the next clip, clip 2. Roll it.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Joe Rothrock. I'm the special agent in charge of the Dallas FBI field office. I want to first start by thanking our partners in local law enforcement, specifically the Dallas Police Department, for their quick and timely response. I can confirm at this time that the FBI is investigating this incident as an act of targeted violence. It is unfortunately just the most recent example we've seen of targeted violence, to include here in North Texas, where back on July 4th, we saw a coordinated attack carried out against an immigration detention center in Alvarado, Texas. What I can also share with you is that early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack. This will be a whole of government response. There will be no resource not utilized to bring all those individuals who are responsible to bring them to justice and to hold them accountable. While we're not releasing identities of any victims at this time, what I can confirm for you is no members of law enforcement were hurt during this attack. If any member of the public has information that would help the FBI's investigation, I would ask that you please report that to 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, any piece of information will be helpful, but this will be an ongoing investigation between us, a number of federal partners, and our local partners, again, to ensure that anyone responsible is held accountable.
Now, I know that the conspiracy theorists are conjuring up their conspiracies before we have any information. We don't have at this point that I know of any information about the shooter specifically. And I don't know of any verifiable information. I don't know of a motive. The motive seems clear that he was attacking an ICE facility. But as a former investigator, you can't just go off of shell casings and what you believe a motive to be. You can initiate the investigation based on what you think the crime that has occurred, which means that it was a targeted attack. But you never know what criminals are doing to divert attention. This person may have done this with a manifesto. They attacked the facility, but they really want you to read the manifesto about some old conspiracy theories because these people are nutty. The person could have intentionally tried to shoot detainees to make the situation even worse. Because if he shot ICE agents, the government would be upset. Regular Americans would be upset. But the naysayers and the left-wing people are not too concerned. But when the detainees get killed, the very people that they claim are being thwarted and treated improperly, that's when you will get the outrage from these activist groups. Now, let's play the stupidity from MSNBC, because we know that they want to make this look as if it's a right-wing issue. They want to blame Trump. They want to blame conservatives. And at the end of the mother-freaking day, ICE agents are just following the law. If you claim somebody's racist or somebody's doing some untoward, blame Congress who passed the law. Instead, these nut jobs are attacking ICE agents from getting hardened criminals out of our country. And I put it on everything that when the dust settles, I want to know who the detainees were, and I want to know why they were detained and what the criminal components of their detention was. And I can almost rest assure you on this channel that there were people who were committing heinous crimes in America that the left is going to go out there and glorify and memorialize. Roll the clip.
The writing, the first time we really saw that was Brenton Tarrant in the Christchurch shooting in a mosque in New Zealand, and he was a fierce, white supremacist and neo-Nazi, and wrote all over his weapon and his rounds, very hateful information. So to see this coming from, potentially the other side of the political spectrum is a little strange, because it is not something, if you are trying to, carry out some kind of message countering, more extreme right-wing stuff, I don't know why you would, use a tactic that a famous white supremacist who has been revered and copycatted over the years by other white supremacists, why you would do that. But it does appear that people are moving in that direction because they want people to know what they're doing and why they're doing it. Again, terrorism is theater. They want people to understand their message and why they're doing that.
So let me just put this in perspective real quick. That clip was kind of confusing, even to me. I listening to it, I don't know if he was really trying to make that connection, which he probably did accidentally make the connection. But I think the totality of the circumstance is that I don't think it's a white supremacist thing. I think it's a copycat thing to get you to talk about what was on the rounds. I don't think the person, he probably even knew who that other guy was, and that he had used writing or indicia of his crimes onto the bullet casing. The most recent one was the Charlie Kirk situation where a person wrote on there. So I think that copycat came from the Charlie Kirk copycat. It looked like he shot from a rifle, which was a .308, which I think came also, which is the same caliber of weapon allegedly used in Charlie Kirk's situation. And the only reason I say allegedly is because the investigation is not complete. So some people think it's allegedly because they say, there's no way a .308 could have penetrated Charlie Kirk's neck and then did it. I don't have no evidence what other round did they find? Okay, so I don't have any evidence to really challenge that other than pushing a theory that I kind of think is right. But it's definitely troubling to see this type of stuff. Let's show the clip real quick, or the photo of the shell casings and see. I was looking at them and at first I thought they were 308, and then I had to do a little bit more research because the proportionality of the picture, you can't really tell proportionally how big the rounds are. But I've never shot a 308, a 30-06. So I'm not really familiar with what a 30-06 looked like. Now, a 308 looked like this, But when you compare it to a 30-06, this looked more like a 30-06. It's a lot longer and obviously more grain in it. So it got a little more payload, which do a lot more damage. I could be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not really big on the firearm bullets and all of the stuff. I just know 308, 5.56 is the only thing I shot. I know 40, I know 9, and I know 45. But anybody can look it up on the internet, and that's what I did. They showed a rifle that looked like a 30-06. I could be wrong. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if a 30-06 looks like that. When I looked it up, a 30-06 do have a tip like that. Some people were saying the 30-06 have a smaller bullet on the front with a lot more payload. In my estimate, based on what I looked at, this do look more like a 30-06 than what a 308 would look like. Now, let's go to clip 6, and let's review that and talk about it. Give us a little time to get it. Roll it.
And anti-ICE protests in Chicago turning violent. Agents had to use tear gas and rubber bullets to control the crowds. Mike Tobin live near a migrant detention center just outside of Chicago. Hi, Mike.
And Dana, bright and early Monday morning, the protesters are here. No major incidents so far this morning. A lot of vulgar language as they shout at the employees going from work. And they're heckling the agents as they arrive here. It was a different scene on Friday when the agents had to use tear gas, flashbangs, and some pepper spray to control the situation out here. The numbers vary depending on who is doing the reporting, but ICE says they picked up some 16 people on Friday. That, of course, generated criticism from the Democrat Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who posted on X, "We're monitoring the ongoing federal deployments that are instilling fear in our communities. Americans have the right to peaceful assembly and to make their voices heard. Even if the Trump administration won't follow the law, we will." Gregory Bavino, who came here with the influx of Border Patrol agents, responded to Pritzker's criticism.
Perhaps Governor Pritzker would do well to realize the danger that his law enforcement officers are in every day because he chooses illegal aliens over American citizens. He chooses to allow illegal alien gang members by the thousands into Chicago and Illinois. That's the real danger.
Now, protesters promise that they will not let up.
What's happening in the country is terrible. We are an autocracy. We are in a fascist government. Our democracy is drifting away. It's eroding.
Now, the gates at this temporary facility have opened a few times this morning. At one point, we saw a number of agents come out. It seemed that the number of agents matched the number of protesters who were on the ground. There were a couple of agents on the roof with pepper ball guns, and about 4 vans left heading to ICE facilities in neighboring states like Indiana and Wisconsin. But again, no major incidents so far this morning.
And if you notice, the car is on flat right there, the ICE vehicle. I noticed the back tire is on flat. But this is an illustration of how stupid the average person is and how much they are propagated from the mainstream media. This dumb garden tool made mention that we live in a fascist government. They are literally arresting people who are illegally in America. They're not rounding up citizens. They're not rounding up people based on race, people based on religious affiliation. People have committed a crime which drew attention from ICE. That's why they're getting arrested. The woman that's just cooking and cleaning at your house illegally, who's an illegal alien, they can't find her and the 6 million people like her. They find the people who are breaking the law, who are committing crimes, who are involved in a criminal enterprise. There's not enough ICE agents to go door to door to catch mama and papa. Matia. It's not enough ICE agents. They do not coordinate efforts to go after random folk. For you dummies out there, they're going after criminals. And while catching criminals, sometimes they catch other people who should be in this country. And this is a stain on America and Americans' fabric because people are too stupid to discern the difference. Everybody in America should be okay with us getting illegal people out of our country, at least holding them to justice. Everybody else had to do it right. Why you get to do it wrong? Everybody else had to go to immigration court and pay millions of dollars and doing all that. Why you get to just sneak in? Why you get to just live off the American taxpayer dollar? And the other people had to fight to get here. The crazy thing is, even when they talk about Israel and they talk about wars, a lot of government spending, the majority of government spending is on entitlements. 75% of all government budget and spending, which is driving us deeper into debt, is Medicare, Medicaid, and then you go out on these government subsidies, food stamps, SNAP, and all these other things. That's the majority of our spending. Military spending is a very small amount of spending in comparison to entitlements. I think military spending is like 11% or less, 75%. And I think 22% of the entitlements, or 22%, is just SNAP and food stamps. That's trillions of dollars a year that we spend. Millions of undocumented immigrants, AKA illegal aliens, are consuming a large percentage of that. They're sucking the blood out of America financially. And these dumb people on the left think it's just totally fine. Stupidest stuff I've ever heard.